Immediate reaction from the Senate side. Joining us from Capitol, Senator Tom Coburn, Republican of Oklahoma. Senator Coburn, as always, sir, you know, if we're going to throw over the sequester, here's the thing that bothers me the most. There's a lot of imperfections in this deal. I get that. The thing that bothers me the most, if we're going to turn out the sequester and substitute tax revenues instead, I think that leads us down the wrong road.
Oh, I agree, and I don't think that's going to happen. Look, it was cutting $1.2 trillion over the next 10 years was hard-won battle. It was hard for the country to go through. You know, what is being proposed now is about $600 billion in tax increases, with about a fifth of it to be spent to buy down things. So really about $480 billion in revenues that should go to decrease the deficit. We had our choice, we wouldn't be doing it that way. The government's entirely too big, too inefficient and ineffective. We could take most of this money by decreasing spending. But the fact is that this 11th hour, and there's a lot of people who shouldn't be having tax increases are going to if we don't reach some type of compromise. So, those are two different questions. I'm not about to give up the hard-won battle of the $1.2 trillion because we haven't cut a penny yet from the federal government in the last 3 years. We haven't cut a penny, and so that's not something I'm willing to give up.
That's the thing. We haven't cut a penny. Let's start there. Your book, your work, your speeches, your appearances, you have identified hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars of waste that the government doesn't need and the country doesn't need, and it seems to all evaporate. And from what I gather, Tom Coburn, the debate right now is whether to put off the spending cut sequester for a year or 2 months or whatever. It's always mañana when it comes to spending, sir, and you know as well as I do, taxing wealthy investors and successful earners is not going to solve our problem.
No, and like I said, we would rather do this a different way. But you have to look at there is one bright side to this, Larry, is that if this bill happens, about 99% of Americans are going to have rates locked in and are going to know what they are and are going to have some certainty for the future. And that is one of the big things that's keeping us from growing now, because people don't want to put capital at risk because they don't see the future. So is it a perfect win? Absolutely not. And it's the wrong way to actually grow the economy. But it's a whole lot better than having all these tax cuts, increases go through, and then see us folding and only getting it at $250,000.
All right. Well, I think under the circumstances, you're probably right. It's the best tax deal possible. Yeah. Let me ask you, sir, do you think tonight there will be a Senate vote on some kind of deal?
Well, I think there should be very late tonight or early in the AM. Even if this gets enacted in the next couple of days, it's all going to be retroactive to January 1st. But the very point of it is when you have a deal of this nature, you need to get it passed before you start having all the interest groups start finding out everything they think is wrong with it and giving people excuses not to support it.
All right, Senator Tom Coburn, we appreciate your time.
All right, Larry, good talking to you.
Happy New Year to you, sir. Appreciate it. All right, folks, just